Well, and as I had promised earlier on, that we shall be having a live interview segment where we shall be discussing harnessing diaspora remittances. Well, this is the time, and our guest this afternoon is Lawi, who is the Managing Director of Pangea Trust. Well, welcome, Anne, to our program this afternoon. Well,
thank you. Thank you for having me. Looking forward to the conversation.
Well, me too. Just to kick us off, maybe you tell us how Kenya can maximize remittances inflow, which continue to grow and which cumulatively stood at 344 billion shillings in the year to August.
All right. Thank you again. My name is Lawi, Managing Director of Pangea Trust, and also one of the founding trustees of Pangea Trust. As Pangea Trust, we are a business accelerator, but also an investor. And what we are doing currently is activating diaspora remittances as investments for businesses across Africa. One of the things that we have been able to establish is that the diaspora remittances are on the rise. As you have mentioned, the figures right now from 2020, figures from the World Bank, they stood at 3.1 billion USD. And that figure is estimated to go up in the year 2021. That is defying the economic downturn that have been that have affected globally because of the epidemic. However, despite those huge numbers, very little or very small percentage of that diaspora remittances goes to investment, to businesses, either startups or businesses. Less than 5%, it's what goes to investment. The rest of the diaspora remittances that come to the country are household consumption. And we see a huge opportunity for us right there to try and explore, to see how can we unlock more of those to be set aside and channeled to investments. What we are doing currently, we have one of our projects called Diaspora Remittance Initiative, and we have created an innovative investment mechanism. And one of the key things we have done is to do a diaspora remittances mapping for Kenya, Kenya, Somalia, and Ethiopia to start with as a pilot. We wanted to establish, as much as we have so much inflow of remittances in Pan-African coming to the continent, how much of that can be tapped to go into the investment. And what we have discovered out of the diaspora remittance study that we have done, up to 59% of respondents have indicated that they are willing to invest in these businesses. So what we are doing is, one, can we be able to mobilize more of the diaspora remitters to be able to channel their remittances as investment. Secondly, create a mechanism that we can be able to channel these investments into the startups. So being that we are also a business accelerator, so we scout businesses in Kenya, and currently we are starting with Kenya, Ethiopia, and Somalia. We scout businesses, we make them investor ready, do due diligence and KYC, that is KYC is due diligence of being able to know the business, and then channel these investments if they're investor ready. So that's the overview, and that's the process and infrastructure that we are putting in place to be able to channel the investments.
You mentioned mapping.
Yes.
Maybe you tell us, you recently released the diaspora remittance mapping study. What would you say was the most outstanding finding?
Yeah, that's a very good question, because there have been a lot of mapping there before done by different partners. But out of this, we wanted to understand, one, what are the motivations for the remitters to send money, and also we wanted to know what are what is the investment appetite for remittances, for remitters to be able to send money aside for investment. What has been outstanding for us is to discover that there is a huge percentage percentage of diaspora remitters who would want to channel money as investments. But one of the key hindering factor is trust. Do I trust that the infrastructure in place will give me the return on my investment? Do I trust myself to make the right decision? Is there, and the next one, is there sufficient information for me to make the right decision for investment? And that's where we come in as Pangea Trust, because we want to provide sufficient information for investment case studies across Africa. Secondly, we profile the businesses that we are going to invest in and do due diligence. That means that if you want to invest in this business, you can go through different profiles that will be part of the platform, and then make your investment decision directly to the business, and we do the facilitation. So we are doing all the de-risking and making the investment decision very easy for diaspora remitters who would want to channel their investments, their remittances as investments.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you also mentioned startups. Now, maybe what frameworks can be deployed to ensure the startups tap these huge remittance flow?
I think it's as a country in Kenya, we have made great strides in terms of creating a neighboring environment for building business in the region. One of the things that I have seen, because I've been in the industry for quite a while, is that there are so many opportunities that you can be able to position your business, be it in health, be it in education, be it in logistics. So one, can you be able to create an innovative business that can scale? Do you have technical expertise and knowledge to build a business in a scalable manner? Are you building a business in a market segment that can be able to scale? And make sure that you're able to understand the investment understand the investment language. Now, with that in mind, as long as you have a scalable business concept, or you have a scalable business idea that you have put in place, and you have been able to establish that you are in a market segment that can scale, also ensure that you understand the investment landscape. One of the things that have made most of the businesses and startups to not tap into available opportunities is because of lack of understanding of investment opportunities that exist. So understanding those basics and then positioning yourself to be able to tap into those. Understand what exists, what investment opportunities exist, and understand how you can be able to align yourself with. For us, what we do is to ensure that we have a call for application. So if you come across our call for application, we provide all the information of how you can be able to position yourself, and then from there we are able to, if you send in your application, do the selection, and then we do the investment consideration from there, and do investment readiness, because it's a key component to ensure the businesses are ready for investment.
Well, could COVID impact or derail diaspora interest in startups? Maybe.
Actually, that has been surprisingly good for remittances. It was projected that the remittances will go down at the beginning of 2020. Actually, it went high. So we are seeing positive outcome out of COVID, but then there has been very conservative view and consideration towards investment across the globe, across the continent, from other investment mechanism. And that's where we see diaspora remittances as a key driver of investing in businesses across the country and across the continent, because the numbers in terms of the money that is coming to the continent is quite high. Why we are very keen on this as Pangea is because currently up to 96% of startups and businesses invested in 2020 was expert founded, while only 6% of those businesses that were African founded. Now, we see an opportunity where we can be able to increase the investment percentages to African businesses. And the reason for that is because most of the investment mechanism sits outside the continent. So the money that, the decisions making for this money. If it's outside the continent, definitely to invest into a startup that are more closer to home, which is outside the continent. And that's why we want to create a fund that is specifically channeling investment into businesses across the continent. We have, for us to be able to share the results that are coming out of the mapping study that we have put aside, we have a diaspora validation workshop to be able to widespread the outcome of our diaspora report or remittance mapping report that we have put in place. It's on 4th of November. Where we'll be sharing the recommendation, the findings, and the mechanism that different businesses and stakeholders can be able to engage with.
Maybe are there obstacles to enabling investments for the diaspora in accessing appropriately packaged information on investment opportunities?
Yes, there are two kind of hindrances or challenges. One, how do I get the right businesses to invest in? Who does the follow-up mechanism for me as a diaspora investor? And the other thing, how do I validate that this is a legit business case? And if it grow, how do I get my return on investment? On the other side, because as I said, this is twofold kind of challenge. The other challenge is for the businesses that are in the continent. How do I get to identify investment mechanism that exist? How do I even expose my business or put my business across for investment consideration? How do I get myself ready to even be considered for this? And that's where we come in, sit at the middle, ensure that we create a platform where we can create a very clear path for you to be able to access investable business from our accelerator process. So we'll do the call for application, do the screening, do the selection, do the due diligence, and provide these businesses, or rather showcase these businesses to our diaspora remitters investors. On the other hand is to provide the right information to the diaspora remittance investors, make sure that we can provide a portfolio of businesses that they can make investment consideration from, and also make sure the legal aspect of it that is required that have been taken care of. So if you decide to be, or rather commit to be, one of the investors for the program, then all the legalities that need to be in place then is taken care of. So the challenges that come out of this process to us becomes an opportunity, and that's why we are engaging most of the stakeholders in the ecosystem. One, to be able also to create business opportunities for the businesses that we are supporting, but also to get buy-in, because we know there has been other initiatives that have been done before, and we know there are learning opportunities, there have been challenges. How can we build on that? And to do that, for us, what we are doing right now, we are engaging different stakeholders in Kenya and in Somalia and Ethiopia, and we have a stakeholder session next week that is on 28th of October, to just understand what are those opportunities that exist, especially in Somalia ecosystem. So the event that we have on 28th of October, next 20th of October, is to just understand what are the opportunities, what are the challenges, what are existing collaborative opportunities, what are the different case studies can we build on.
So just to wrap us up, I see that time is up for us here. So maybe how can startups pitch for the funding from Kenyan diaspora looking to, or rather looking for investment opportunities?
Right, so right now we have just closed the call for application, but I would call upon all the businesses that feel that they have an innovative business across, we are sector agnostic across all sectors, can still submit their business case or their application using our social media handles at Pangea Trust. They can Google us at Pangea Trust, submit, and for the next cycle, maybe we can consider them. So because right now we have just closed the call for application. It was running from July up to 24th of September. But we're still running. This was the first cycle. We will still have other cycles coming. So we call upon to keep on following us on our social media platform and follow all the events that we have, because we can provide all the information that we require. That is the validation workshop on 4th of November, and then the Somalia stakeholder session on 28th of October, so that they can get the information they require and they can know what to do next.
Well, thank you so much. Well, that brings us to the end of our interview segment. That was Lawi, who is the Managing Director of Pangea Trust. We were discussing harnessing diaspora remittances.